Today, I'm going to talk about how to relieve stress when you're an empath. And by definition, when you're an empath, you are the type to help others when they're in stressful situations, and you help problem solve and make sure that they're taken care of. But when you're so often that caregiver in someone else's life, what do you do when you have trouble in your own life? What is the right approach to getting help? So my name is Leah Chantel. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here, and today I'm talking about how empaths can get help. And I have a few different tips and stories to share with you today. So first of all, I'll start with my story. I lost my passport when I was in New Zealand a few years ago, and what had happened was I was up on a road trip and I was living in Auckland at the time. I went to the very northern tip of New Zealand, and it was beautiful and lovely, and there were lots of sand dunes, and there was the ocean and so many exciting things to see. However, what happened when I was running out of the vehicle to go and take pictures was that my passport fell out of the side door as I was running out to go take pictures. And then what ended up happening was I didn't notice it was gone until I was almost all the way back to Auckland, and it was 4 hours away that the passport had fallen while I was taking photographs. And then almost on the way home, I realized it was gone and I panicked. I thought, what the heck am I gonna do? And I was always the type of person who makes sure that everybody has meals packed when we're going out and taking a trip, or I'm the person who makes sure everything's clean and everything's organized for other people, or that we have directions, or that we have resources and we know which places to visit. But when I was in trouble, I didn't know what to do because it had literally, I realized, probably fallen out on the side of the road. There was just no other explanation because it had been in the side door and then it was suddenly gone. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to get it back. I'm going to have to go to the consulate and get help and get a new passport from Canada. And also, here's more backstory on this. When I had been living in Alberta, I'd actually lost my passport once before, and I'd asked the government to send me an emergency passport. So they allowed me to get a new passport, but I had to agree to send the old one back to the government, and they warned me that if I did it again, that they may take it away. They had the right to revoke it. So I was really scared, and I was in another country, so I didn't know what was going to happen. So what did I do? I just prayed because I didn't know what else to do. And I know that might sound like kind of a very specific thing to do when you're in trouble. Having said that, prayer really works when you're in trouble. So I recommend that's one of the first things you do, or maybe the last if you have some other ideas that you need to do first in order to help solve the problem. But definitely call on the power of prayer and don't forget it, because especially when you don't know what to do to solve a problem, it can be such an amazing tool to help you get help. So when I was praying, I got out of the fight or flight instinct in my head, and I was able to calm down and just breathe. And then it was very interesting. I was looking into resources to ask for help from the New Zealand government. I was doing some research on the consulate. And then while I was in the middle of doing that research and trying to figure it out, I checked my social media, and guess what? An American found my passport, and he said he was traveling and backpacking across New Zealand, and he was going to come back to Auckland for one night. So I had one chance. I had to actually take time off work, my job at the time in New Zealand, to go and retrieve my passport from him at a coffee shop because he was going to be leaving. So I went to the coffee shop, and he was very gracious. He was very kind. I was so lucky that he looked me up on social media and that he even found me. And I got my passport back, and I was okay. And I still have that passport to this day, so I have never lost it again. And so I've been good. But at that point, I was panicking. I was so scared when my passport disappeared in that moment. But having that moment to calm down and pray and then do some research, I thought the solution was I was going to have to go to the government to replace it, and I wasn't really sure what the process was going to look like or what was going to happen. Not to mention, when you're a foreign worker and you're living in another country, your passport is like key to everything. You need your passport to do almost anything because you don't have any other government identification in order to say that you can do this or do that, you know. A lot of things in Canada, when you're doing government tasks, you can bring your passport or your health card rather than your full passport to do the tasks. And so if you lose one, you've typically got another form of identification you can fall back on and you can still get things done. But when you're a foreign worker and you're in another country, typically your passport is it. And if you lose it, it can be very tough to replace it. You have to go to the consulate. So in that sense, I believe that prayer really worked for me that day, that there was somebody caring enough to find my passport and look me up on social media to try to give it back to me. I was incredibly lucky, but I also believe that prayer really helped me connect and get my passport back to me. We connect to the mysterious when we pray. There are resources and things that are unknown to us that can help us when we're in times of trouble. And so many times people often forget to pray. Actually, come to think of it, I haven't prayed in a while, but it's a very good tool to say thank you. And when you really do have a time of trouble and you need help, it's a very important way to turn to help. And by the way, when you do need help with something, that's another resource, is that you should turn and ask for help from the people around you, not just in prayer. Your friends and family can help you when you have trouble, but you need to be courageous enough to ask for their assistance when those times of trouble come up. And you'd be very surprised of what comes through for you when you can go and get help. Of course, it's wonderful to be independent and do things yourself. I really recommend that on an ongoing basis, but there are times when we all need a little bit of help. And when we ask for the help that we need, miraculous things can happen. So those are my tools, are to pray, also to do the research, to try to problem solve things yourself, but then also ask for help from other people and ask for their perspective when you're having a big problem and you need it solved. I hope you enjoyed my tools for today that help empaths get out of a tricky situation or stressful situations. If you have any questions about the material or you have any other tips you'd like to share, definitely feel free to leave a comment below. And if you liked the video and you want to see more, definitely hit like and hit subscribe for more videos to come out to the future. And I hope all of you also have time to check out my social media. My handle is Leah H. Chantel. It's on Instagram, TikTok, and I also have a Leah H. Chantel presence on LinkedIn. And I'd be happy to communicate with any of you there if you have any questions. And I also just wanted to say thank you for tuning in. I know people who are listening to my channel are going to be the ones who are trying to do kind things for other people. They're trying to bring the love and the joy into other people's lives. And when you are that person, sometimes you just need a little bit of help and a little bit of assistance. So that's what my aim is in life, is to help the people who are helping others and lifting others up in their lives. So I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend and take care. Bye now.